Anybody have a fear of public speaking? Not a real thing, right? You know, I've been on stages a couple times over the years, and I didn't realize when people say, like, public speaking, that's hard to do. You get up there, you're like, oh, shit. Good thing is I can't see anybody out in the audience, so I'm just going to pretend I'm up there by myself. But I'll wait for everybody to get a seat. And this is the last speaker of the evening, Stewman. But before I bring him out, I wanted to do an introduction to him. Who he is, what he means to me, what he means to be here, and probably Apex. But we'll wait till some people get in their seats here, and then we'll get started. Is everybody having a good time? Did everybody learn a lot? Good. That's the most important thing. When it comes to learning in any trade or any lifestyle or any style or any stage in your life, the hardest thing about learning something new is our brain. Our brain grows into a stunted growth mode. And what I mean by that is our egos tend to take over. And it's hard sometimes for people to learn new knowledge and new information. How to speak differently, how to act differently, how to close differently, how to do business deals. So if you're learning a lot, that's a really good thing. Because most people come to these events, in my 5-year experience, and they'll go home and keep doing it. And so what I would ask for you is whatever you've learned, take it home and implement it. For the last 5 years, prior to the next 2 months ago, I built a company that was doing amazing things in the sales area. And one thing that I noticed, one common thing, is that we meet men and women again and again and again. These same men and women, hundreds if not thousands of men and women, and they come back to us and they had elevated their skill set in speaking, closing, negotiating, and they hadn't ran any bottom line revenue to the bottom line of their companies. And that's a problem. So don't come here to be entertained. Come here to do the work and get ready to roll. So is everybody in? We got everybody filled out? We're good to go? So 5 years ago, 2019, July, I'll always remember this. My wife was ready to leave me, and I've been together with her for 20 years. I had a drinking problem, and I'm going to make this quick, but it's a very important statement to know who you were tied into. I think who you tie into is everything in your life. And then, so she makes a statement to me. She said, hey, listen, I need you to be the man or I got to go. Short story. I said, give me one more shot. I'll fix everything in my life. I haven't drank since. And about 2 weeks later, my buddy comes up to me and says, hey man, check out this podcast. You're going to really like this podcast. Hardcore Closure. Like, this guy's like a douchebag. Why are you doing this? I was like, seriously, man? I pushed play on one. I randomly picked a podcast that Ryan Stewman has, the Hardcore Closure podcast. I pressed play, and if you motherfuckers don't have 10 grand in your bank account, you have this, and you have that. And I was so insulted. I was pissed off. I stopped the podcast. I threw it down on the ground. I drove home another 20 minutes, and I was infested with his words. It irritated me all night long. I was pissed off at this man. And then I realized he was speaking to me. He was speaking to me. And I just decided to make the decision to not drink. I woke up the next night, or the next morning, and I watched 9 podcasts.
Hanging out with top price right now, so we're getting them in. You know your walkout video, right? It does the whole thing, and then it costs you.
Yep. 6 months later, I get into entrepreneurs, and then I ascend in the executives program, or it was an Apex Elite program with the Navy SEAL at the time. And in 4 years, I built a $52 million company before resigning as the vice president of the Elite Group to come here as COO of Apex. This is a dream of mine to come true to announce this, man. This is very important for me to be here. I want you to know my name is Sean Caller, and if you are in the trades and you have sales teams and you need back-end operations, I'm your man. Please DM me. Most of the stuff I can get done for you, there's no charge for this. Let's grow together, let's enjoy each other's time and company, but let's learn. Let's take our skill that we're taking in and apply it to our day-to-day activities. So enjoy the video, and then Hardcore Closure will come out next.
Hey.
Hey, All right, where'd everybody go? You got to send them back in here. All right, we're gonna learn this evening. You guys enjoyed the event so far today? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna teach you some critical things that matter, okay? So I'm up here to teach. I might crack a few jokes, might entertain you a little bit, but I want you to learn, I want you to leave with something today. But it's like Sean said, you know, it's not just about learning. It's like I said earlier, investment, the time to be here, the money you paid for the ticket, the hotel room, the flight, plus action equals return on investment. So when you leave here, I want you to apply the information that I'm going to share with you, okay? So no matter where you're at in this room, financially, in your business, I believe that there's 4 levels of business and 8 skill sets that you have to master. Here's what happens to most people. They go around through life and they say, man, I want to go to the next level. I want to level up. Man, I want to go to the next level. And really what they're saying is, I'm not happy where I'm at. Because they haven't identified what the next level is. They haven't identified the level that they're on to know what it is that they need to go to the next level. So what I'm going to do in the next hour and 15 minutes, I'm going to try not to drag it on too long because I know y'all been here all day, is I'm going to put you in a situation where you understand the level that you're on. You understand the skills that you must master in order to go to the level that you want to go to, and then what you have to do to keep continuing going. Like I said, there's 4 levels and 8 skills, and I'm going to dive in deep with every one of these 8 skills and these 4 levels so that when next time, everybody in this room that pays attention today, when you leave here and you say, I want to go to the next level, you know what it takes, what you've got to learn, what it means, and how to go about doing it. Is that cool with you guys? Yeah. All right. Here's one thing I ask about me. The rest of these guys weren't necessarily professional speakers. I am, so I need you guys to play all in with me. If I say something cool, amen, awesome, clapping, hollering, it's not gonna disturb me. What bothers me is apparently phone rings. But other than that, I want you guys to go in, be energetic, because I feed off of y'all. The more energy that I get from y'all, the better I'm gonna perform up here. Cool? All right, perfect. So let's get started. Level 1, you work for someone, you're employed, okay? So if you work for someone right now, and you say, I wanna go to the next level, then you have to master 2 skills, all right? There's nothing wrong with working for someone. Matter of fact, if I had my choice, okay, and I've built a 9-figure empire from scratch, and if I still had a choice today, I wish I worked for someone else. You know what it's like to write fucking checks that you don't want to write? You know what it's like to go, God damn, payroll's this much? Fuck, for that guy? Right? Like, dude, it is exhausting. Everybody shows up with their hand out. Everybody wants a piece of your money. The employees, you hire somebody to come in and manage your books, and then they're like, well, shit, you got some extra. Why can't I have some? Like, fuck, I wish I worked for somebody. A long time ago, I offered my mentor, Frank Kern. He's an internet marketing surfer dude from Atlanta. It doesn't make sense, just go with it. But Frank Kern, that's how great of a marketer he is. A dude from Georgia is a surfer, right? That's how good of a salesman he is. But I told Frank, I said, man, I just want to work for you. Let me just be your sales guy. And he said, man, I think you're going to end up being way bigger than me, and I think that you need to go out and do your own thing. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like that's like, I've never wanted to be a business owner. I always want to be a hustler, so I've always had a side hustle, flipping homes or whatever, but my background is in finance. I've been in finance for 20 years, that's why we have Closer Capital. I actually work for Willow Bend Mortgage, which is about a block that way in a building half the size. And actually the company right here next to us is a lending company that I used to do second liens with when I was in mortgages. And my best friend on the planet is a gentleman named Mike Wolf. I've been best friends with this guy since I was 16 years old. And I've always looked up to him. I still do today. We're great friends. He's the longest running friend I've had in my entire life. And Mike has worked for the same company for 28 years. Same phone number, same email address, same position. They've offered Mike 1 million times, hey, let us promote you to sales manager. Let us promote you to vice president. No, not interested. I don't got to manage people. I don't got to do shit. I don't have to pay for bills. I don't have quotas to meet. I get to be a sales guy and write my own check. And you know, Mike, he's been doing this for 28 years. And so he's financed people's house. Then he's financed the kids of those people's house. And at some point, he's old enough, he's 63, 64 at this point, where he's even doing grandkids' house at this point. Same phone number, same email. That's a power move, by the way. If you're in a company like Perimeter Roofing, for example, and you got a badass leader like Todd, like the best thing that you can do is get plugged in and ride that guy's wave. He's not going to stop. The best thing that you can do is get plugged in with him and let him go out and deal with the fucking stress and headache of writing big checks and acquiring companies and managing people and dealing with the tribe of tribes and all that stuff. The best thing you can do is attach yourself to that guy, let him deal with that stress, and it's a power move to be in the same company for a long time. Okay, I know a lot of you guys are business owners here, but this is something you could reiterate to your employees. Why is it a power move? Because the roof you fix today in North Texas, by the way, is probably gonna get fucked up 5 years from now, 10 years from now again. And if you're with the same company all those years later, that shows, first of all, stability. We all know that guy that bounces around from job to job every 6 months. When I was in the mortgage business, they offer draws to people. They give you a signing bonus and they give you draws. And I would watch the shittiest salesman bounce about every 6 months, because that's when the draws run out. And that's when the signing bonus ran out. They bounce from job to job. They have no stability. A guy like Mike, he makes probably, I don't know, I want to give Mike's income, but he's 7-figure a year earner, and he's got stability. People go, man, hey, let me send you over to my buddy Mike. He's worked the same company 28 years. The dude's really good at what he does. When somebody hears that, they're like, same company, 28 years. Wow, you know, that must be a great company. Wow, he must be a very stable individual, right? Never mind the fact that Mike's unemployable by any other company, but I'm just kidding, that's not the truth. But it just presents that level of stability. Most people don't have any stability in their life, so when you're an employee and you can latch onto the right person, the right company, it gives you stability. But the first skill that you've got to learn if you want to level up is sales. Shocker, right? If you can't sell shit, you can't make any money. Right? This is what I love. People all the time, well, I'm not really in sales. No, we're all in sales. You got kids, you got a wife, you got friends, you got the IRS. We're all trying to sell something, right? No, that was a company expense. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all trying to sell something constantly. And the better you get at sales, the more money you're going to make, right? So you can either embrace that you need to get good at sales, or you can avoid it your whole life and wonder why you're not making any more money. Right? The better you get at knocking doors, the better you get at cold calls, the better you get at selling online, which is, in my opinion, way more powerful than door knocking and cold calling, because I can make a post, like I did this yesterday. I make a post about Apex online. I just simply said, if you want to make more money, you need to get with us at Apex. We had 120 leads come in. You know how long it takes to knock 120 doors and people say, yeah, get on my roof? That takes a long ass time. I did it in about 3 minutes, sitting on the toilet, typing up a post because I was bored, right? Like, that's the difference between online and then actually going out there and making cold calls and everything else. Nothing wrong with cold calls, nothing wrong with door knocking, and I'll get into this here in a second, but that's what the difference is when you can master online, you get a message to the masses in sales, because selling can be done multiple ways. Face to face, on the phone, through email, on social media, through video. What's another way? Anybody else got one? Webinars, right? What else? Websites. Podcasts, absolutely, right? Look at all these most people, they find one thing or the other that they're good at. Look, we just named 7 things real quick. I named most of them. Thanks for participating, guys. And so sales, okay? Sales pays the bills, and without sales, there is no income, right? The most powerful question to me in sales, now see, I like inbound leads. I'm at a point now in my life, and I've been this way for about 15 years now, I don't want to talk to nobody who don't want to talk to me. You know, nothing's worse than, like I said earlier, you know, somebody comes to my Ring doorbell, and they're like, hey, you know, what are you selling? You know, I know people are going to be that same way with me, because how you buy is how you sell. And so I can expect that if I'm bothering somebody, and for lack of a better phrase, then they probably don't want to do business with me. If they're not thinking about what it is that I sell right in that moment, they're probably not interested, because life goes on, right? And so when you become somebody who can master online through podcasts, through email, through videos, through webinars, the most powerful question in sales is, what made you decide to reach out? Remember, KISS, keeping it simple sells. Right? I know the Navy says keep it simple, stupid, but I like keeping it simple sales. We try to build this complexity up, and complexity leads to confusion, and confusion often gives us an excuse not to take action. Right? So if we say, what made you decide to reach out? Why do I think this is the most powerful question in sales? Because one of the hardest things to get a human being to do is make a decision. You don't believe me? Fellas, when you leave here tonight, you go with your your wife, your girlfriend, your old lady, side piece, whatever you guys got going on. When you go there, you ask her what she wants to eat. Tonight's date night for me. We did date night on Valentine's. My housekeeper called me and she said, you know what, I'll watch the kids again on Friday. I'm like, are you okay? Should we get you a doctor appointment? And so, but hey, you know what? It's a chance for me to go date my wife. I don't get 2 shots in 1 week very often, so I'm lucky enough to do that tonight. I asked Mrs. Closer earlier, hey, where do you want to go tonight? I don't know. Where do you want to eat at? I don't know. You know, food keeps us alive, right? Like we need that to live. Where do you want to go eat at? I don't know. You figure it out. Fuck, I don't want to make that decision. You make it, you know? And so the best thing to do, guys, by the way, is ask better questions, right? Hey, we're going to your favorite place to eat tonight. Where do you think it is? Oh, we're going to Mi Casino? You goddamn right we are. Right? I don't remember, I think it was Todd, maybe it was Kenny that said ask better questions, right? Or maybe it was Nia. I want somebody today. So what made you decide to reach out? What that's doing is that's implying that they've already done the hardest thing it is to get a human being to do and make a decision. Why are decisions hard to get people why is it hard to get a person to make a decision? Because decisions come with consequences. If I pick the wrong restaurant, I got to hear about that shit while I'm sitting there, right? Why didn't you bring us here? Miss Stewman would never say something like that, but I've been with ladies who have. It's like, why didn't you bring us here? It's like, I don't know, I thought you'd like it. That's why I hate decisions, because now I got to deal with this shit, right? Now, put it this way, if you're driving down the street in your car and drop the phone on the floorboard, which by the way, never text and drive. That's one of the things I don't do. I get in my car, turn CarPlay on, put the phone in the glove box. Been doing that for a long time. Just patting myself on the back here for a second, I'm giving you guys some advice. But if you get in the car, you drop your phone, you swerve up on the curb, and you hit somebody, chances are you're not going to jail, right? It's like it was an accident, you dropped your phone, you didn't mean to lose control of the car. Meanwhile, if you see that dude that owes you $20, and you swerve over there and you hit that son of a bitch, right? That's a decision. That wasn't an accident, and that has the consequence of possibly assault with a deadly weapon and a life sentence, right? So human beings by nature are scared to make decisions. So when you say, what made you decide to reach out to me? I'm the answer to the problem that you have. I'm the solution to the problem that you have, and you've already made the decision that I'm the answer to that problem. So it starts this subconscious thought process that changes the outcome of that conversation. Here's what you're going to get when you ask somebody this question, though. You're going to get 1 of 2 responses. Response, whatever the thing is, and you know, I'm just kind of checking things out. That's that standoffish person, right? They're going to have objections when you get to the end of that conversation. They're just kind of tire kickers, window shoppers, that kind of thing. They're going to have objections when you get to the end. Doesn't mean you can't close them, right? But that means they're most likely going to stall. But the person number 2, and this is where most salespeople mess up, is you say, hey man, what made you decide to reach out? And they go, oh, it all started in the 4th grade. And they start telling you this whole long ass life story. And y'all laugh, but that's your best prospect. Because why would they be telling you the whole story? So that you understand where they're coming from, you know what their needs are, and if you're, see, here's what most salespeople do. 3 minutes into that conversation, they start interrupting and going, oh, here's what you're gonna use to get a roof. Oh, you just need plumbing. Oh, you just need to buy a mastermind. Oh, you just need our software. And they cut that person off, and there's no empathy there. There's no empathy. They're like, damn, I was trying to tell this person my whole problem so they had an understanding of what was going on in my life. Now I'm trying to give them all the facts so that they can give me a solution that's tailored towards me. And this son of a bitch interrupted me. They don't want to listen to me. And most people go through life, their spouse don't listen to them, their employees don't listen to them, their manager don't listen to them, their kids don't listen to them, their dog don't listen to them when they call them, their therapist that they pay don't listen to them, and now all of a sudden they want to tell the whole story to a salesperson because if he wants to earn that commission, he's going to listen to me, and shit, you cut him off. But if you'll just listen and let them finish the whole story, they're trying to tell you all their problems and put it into context. They might be a little long-winded. So what if it takes them 30 minutes to explain it? It might be a little long-winded, but they're trying to give you all the facts. And if you're a good salesman, you'll use those facts to close them at the end. You'll take notes of what they're saying. And you actively listen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Really? Okay. Right? You're actively listening to them, letting them know that you're listening. If you're making cold calls, you might say, hey, what made you decide to take this call? Right? If you pitch them, and they're like, okay, what you got? Well, first, let me ask you, what made you decide to take my call? if you're reaching out. Hey, what made you decide to answer the door today if you're knocking on the door? Because it takes two things to close sales, and two things only. You know, we can have this whole list of amazing acronyms and all that stuff, and I'm not knocking the trainers that do that stuff, but I like to keep things very simple. I think sales comes down to two things, and you don't have to be a jive turkey type of salesperson with all this like gift of gab, and the more hands you shake, the more money you make. I want immediately. You don't have to be all of that. It really takes two things. Empathy, which comes from listening, right? If you interrupt somebody, if you start telling them what they should buy before they were done telling you how they want to buy it, that's not empathy. Empathy doesn't mean you have to feel sorry for them or even agree with them. It just means you have to listen to them. That's it. The old adage, 2 ears, 1 mouth, listen twice as much as you speak. That really applies to sales. But empathy is the first part. If you'll just listen to somebody, first of all, you'll set yourself way ahead of everybody else because most people don't listen. Most people got TikTok brain, 15 seconds or less, you know? The second thing is confidence, right? If you have confidence, confidence comes from product knowledge. If I know my product is your solution, then I've got confidence to be able to pitch you why, after listening to you first, I've got the confidence that my product will solve your problem, right? Because people buy based on confidence. If you're like, well, you know, I think you need a new roof. Really? You seem very uncertain. What if I don't? Versus, listen, I got up there, you got 3 holes in this thing, it was shot up by a submachine gun and hacked together with an axe, you need a new roof. They're like, oh, he seems very certain of that, right? Seems very confident that a new roof is the reason why there is water on the first floor of my 3rd-story house, right? Okay, so empathy and confidence. Confidence comes from product knowledge. But listen, that's why I say, and again, I'll use Todd. I'll probably just keep referencing him since he was up here before me. You've got to be working for a company, and you've got to be representing a company. You've got to be the extension of that brand for a company that you can be confident in. If we were scamming people at Apex, right? If we were saying, hey, you join us, make $1 million, and nobody made $1 million. First of all, I would never guarantee that shit to anybody, right? But if we were scamming people saying, hey, in 6 months, we'll make you $1 million, join us, give us 100 grand, blah, blah, blah. You think my guys, after a while, you think they'd be very confident to sell that? You know, hey, hello, I work at Walmart. Yeah, man, we're gonna make you a millionaire in 6 months, right? No, right? So you've gotta attach yourself to a brand that you can be confident in. If you say, hey, I'm gonna fix your roof because it was shot up with a submachine gun and hacked up with an axe, and that's the reason why there's water on the first floor of your 3-story home, then you got to work for a company that's actually going to go up there and fix the roof, right? If they go up there and put a blue tarp over it, like, that'll be 100 grand, sir, right? You're not going to be very confident in that company. You're not going to be very confident in your ability to actually solve their problem. Here's another powerful question in sales. What happens if you don't move forward today? Somebody tells you no. Somebody tells you need to think about it. Someone says, I'm not sure. Well, what happens if you don't move forward today? If you don't decide to do this today, what are you going to do? What happens? What changes? Because here's what a lot of our prospects think. They're scared to make that decision. And then when you show them, well, what happens if you stay in indecision mode? What happens if you don't move forward today? What happens if we don't plug up that roof that was all shot up, hacked up, dripping on the first floor? Eventually, your ceiling's ruined. Eventually, your carpet's ruined. Eventually, it probably goes down to the basement if you're up north. Right? What happens if you don't move? The longer you stay in indecision land, the worse it's going to be for somebody. What other options are you considering? I need to talk to my wife. Okay, cool. What other options are you considering? You know, I'm not sure if this is for me. Okay, cool. What other options are you considering? Well, you know, I'm going to think about it. Cool. What other options are you considering? Because really what those are stall tactics because they're scared of making a decision, because they're scared of some unwanted consequences, right? It's like Kenny said, you know, the roofer starter pack. Roofers, contractors, you know, I've been fucked a bunch by contractors. Not by anybody in the room. I wouldn't let them in here. But I have been fucked by contractors a lot, you know. That's just part of any business. I've been in business and done business with thousands of people at this point, and there's going to be a small percentage of companies, and in some segments and industries, a larger percentage of people that just aren't good. And those are the ones that usually have the smoothest sales pitch, you know? right? Because they promising a bunch of shit they don't intend on doing. But most people understand that, and most people are scared of salespeople, right? You think about it. What's a good sales movie? Yeah, the guy fucked people out of hundreds of millions of dollars. And he was on cocaine, sniffing blow out of hookers' assholes and shit in that movie. You think that's a good representation of who the fuck we are? No, some of y'all. What's another one? Boy, that's all they were doing was stealing from people too. You know, J.P. Marlin, right? They were stealing from people too. So people watch those movies and they're like, salespeople steal, right? We're like the big bad wolf in the media. What's another movie? You got one? Another sales movie?
Glenn Ross.
Yeah, the fucking, copies for closers. Those guys were stealing too, by the way. Bad development deals. You know what the best sales movie is out there? Tommy Boy. Seal, you can't say it. You've been around too long. It's Tommy Boy. Why is it Tommy Boy? Because he gets thrown into a situation where he's got to go learn sales. He gets a smart-ass sales manager / mentor in David Spade. They travel around. He fucks up the first 4 or 5 sales pitches, but at some point it clicks for him. And at some point, he goes out there, he's honest, Tommy never lies, right? He's nervous as hell, he's sweating, all this other shit with the pine tree perfume and all that stuff, right? But eventually he goes out there, he practices his craft, he has a very cynical sales manager, right? Like who was it this morning talking about, yeah, get in the car, and going out there. And then guess what happens at the end though? Because of his honesty, because of his integrity, he saves the town, he saves the factory, he gets the girl. That's the best representation of a real salesperson in Hollywood, but they're fucking making fun of that guy. Most people just think of that's a comedy, but that's a real sales movie. Meanwhile, they're worried about us being Jordan Belfort, or they're worried about us being, Vin Diesel from Boiler Room. They're scared. And then the people don't watch Tommy Boy the same way as me. Many of y'all just the light bulb went off. You're like, no shit, Tommy Boy is the greatest sales movie of all time. It is. But even then, it's a comedy, right? Skill number 2 that you've got to have if you want to level up is marketing. Because here's what I know. When you compare sales and marketing together, you can write your own paycheck. Okay? You could be the greatest salesman in the world, sir. But if nobody knows what you sell or who you are, you're going to have skinny kids. You're going to starve to death. You could have the gift of gab all day long, but if you don't, and the best product in the world, but if nobody knows what you sell, who you are, and you're not getting in front of people, you could be the smoothest talking, best question asking person on the planet, and you will starve to death. There's a lot of sales guys I've met in the 13 years that I've been in this industry, and I'm like, man, you're a really good salesperson. Why are you only making $40,000 a year? Well, just been working on my sales. I'm reading Grant Cardone's book. I've been to Tony Robbins, and I read Brian Tracy, blah, blah, blah. It's like, man, you need to read Ryan Dice. You need to read Frank Kern. You need to read people that are teaching you about marketing. Clearly, the sales skill is only getting you half of the $100,000 a year income that you want. But when you learn marketing, here's the cool thing. You could be the worst salesman in the world. And if you get in front of enough people, someone's going to say yes. You could have, my friend Frank, okay? Frank Kern that I was talking about. My friend Frank, man, he's not that good of a salesman. He's an excellent marketer, though. And he knows the law of numbers, right? Salespeople think, if I just call enough people, if I just knock enough doors, if I just take enough, it's a numbers game, if I just take enough action. How about you learn marketing? How about you learn how to get your message out to the masses? How about you learn to get in front of a whole bunch of people? And I like attraction marketing, which means I put an offer out, they come into me. But when you can become a mediocre salesperson and a good marketer, you'll make 6-7 figures a year. A lot of times you see guys that work somewhere and you're like, man, this guy sucks as a salesman. How the hell is he top producer? He's got some level of marketing under his belt. You don't have to be the best if you're getting in front of enough people. If I suck as a salesperson, but I can get in front of 10,000 people on social media or 5,000 people in an email list, or I know how to run ads, man, eventually you know, what do they say? The dog shines, what is the sun shines on the dog's ass at some point in the sundial, right? Eventually, I'm going to get some. In the car business, they say there's an ass for every seat. So eventually, I just got to make sure I'm talking to enough asses to sit in the seat that I got to sell, right? Marketing gets their attention. That's what marketing is, okay? All you're trying to do is get somebody's attention. We see guys out there, like Sean mentioned, Andy Elliott, you know, he's a great marketer too. Matter of fact, I would say he's a better marketer than he is a salesperson. Although he's a great salesperson, I would say he's a better marketer because that whole take your shirt off and the dude's got a swastika on his chest and shit. I'm sure in a room full of people, he's like, fuck. No, seriously, take your shirt off, right? But that guy, clearly guy had been to prison. But that guy, that shirt, a lot of people hate that shit, but it got a lot of people's attention, man. That shit blew him up on YouTube. Then you've got Grant Cardone, right? Some people like him, some people don't. What do you say? One day they love me, one day they hate me, both days I get paid. You know, when Baller Busters was going after him and all this other shit, he kept saying, keep coming, I don't give a fuck. You know, I'm getting your attention. You're just sending eyes to my website. You just get more. Some of y'all are gonna hate me, some of y'all are gonna love me. I don't give a shit about the haters, I'm here for the lovers, right? Marketing gets people's attention. A lot of y'all play small. Now, I'm not telling you to go out there and tell people take their shirt off and call them fat. I'm not telling you to go out there and start a bunch of shit with a bunch of negative sites so that you can get some attention. That's probably not the best way to do business, okay? Even though those guys are both very successful, okay? But at the same time, you're probably boring. Your marketing, your posts on Facebook and shit, you're probably fucking boring. I scroll through my news feed on social media and it's some nerd and he's like, listen, if you'd like to make 7 figures a year, I can be your coach. I'm like, fucking dude's boring. Even if you could make me 7 figures a year, I don't want to be bored into money, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to hire Ben Stein as my fucking marketing guy or my mentor, right? Like, clearly I'm a little old. Some of you are like, who the fuck is Ben Stein? But the guy from the Visine commercials. Like, I don't want to, in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right? I don't want to go listen to that guy, even though Ben's very wealthy. Ben's fucking super, super, super wealthy. But he's boring as shit, right? Like people, we live in the TikTok world. We live in the social media world. We got to get people's attention. So marketing attracts and repels. Again, we'll go back to Cardone. One day they love me, one day they hate me, both days I get paid. He understands the wrong person is getting pushed back. Andy Elliott, when he says, take off your shirt, you're fat, you know, people that don't want to lose weight, they're like, oh, this guy's an asshole, and they walk away from his message. People that know they need to get their life together and they know they need to lose a little bit of weight, it's like, I need somebody to lean on me like this guy's leaning on this dude. That's all marketing does. And listen, I deal with hate all the time, but I got a lot more people that love me. There's always, and you know what, the haters sometimes are louder. And it hurts sometimes. Sometimes they say shit that I'm like, damn, that's true, fuck that guy. But I know it's true, right? Like, damn it, man, that is the most, we should be friends. That was very insulting. You're like, that's right up my style. We should actually be friends. But the truth is, that's all we're trying to do is we're trying to put a message out there that attracts the right people and repels the wrong people, right? People that resonate with our message, like I'm the hardcore closer. That's not for everybody. By the way, it's a big misunderstanding about me. It's not because of my sales skills. I'm an okay salesperson at best, if I'm just being honest, right? I'm the hardcore closer because I'm a great deal closer. I come from the mortgage industry, the finance industry. Like, you know, I'm buying shit and selling shit all the time. I've sold $4 or $5 million in cars, $4 or $5 million in watches, millions of dollars in ranches. I'm a deal closer. That's what I do. Is say, everybody always like, hey, you're that sales trainer guy. I'm like, not really. You know, I mean, if you want to learn sales, maybe I'll teach you something, but that's not really my foray. But again, a lot of people, my friend Jeremy Miner, he has a whole webinar where he's like, you don't want to be the hardcore closer. I'm like, dude, we're friends. What the fuck, right? But he's teaching people that pushy sales that's not what he does. He teaches how to be like play sales Aikido or sales judo versus sales karate, right? Karate, you're actually hitting and punching and kicking somebody. In Aikido, like Steven Seagal shit, you're like moving out of the way and they're spinning and you're like not even out of breath and shit like that. That's what Jeremy teaches. And the consensus and the way that people think about being a hardcore closer is somebody who's really pushy and someone who's always kicking and hitting and stuff like that. But again, he knows his market doesn't want to be some pushy salesperson. So he's like, you don't want to be a hardcore closer. You want to be this soft skilled closer over here. That's great for him. Used to piss me off. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, you could have chose any other phrase, motherfucker. But At the same time, he knows what he's doing. He doesn't want to he doesn't want to train a bunch of aggressive people because that's not how most people are. But marketing attracts and repels, okay? The most powerful part of marketing is the offer. So many people miss this. The best book you can read on this is by Alex Hormozy. It's called $1 Million Offers, $100 Million Offers. It's a fun book to read. If you want to listen to it, it's fun too. But if you actually like physical books, it has cartoon characters in it, so there's extra bonus points for that. It makes it easy to read, which is part of his marketing. It's brilliant. But the offer is the most important part of marketing. See, a lot of people, they suck at making an offer. But this transfers over to the sales skills as well. Here's the formula. Take a picture, write it down, on how to write a great offer. How to get X without doing Y. What does that mean? How to get six-pack abs without doing sit-ups. That's a hell of an offer. How to lose 20 pounds without going to the gym or dieting. That's a hell of an offer. How to make $1 million in sales without having to be pushy or aggressive. You see what this is doing? This is saying, you know, how to make $1 million, okay, that's attractive, without being pushy or aggressive, okay? Well, if you're a pushy and aggressive person, you're like, that's kind of sales shits for pussies, right? But that's a great offer because most people don't want to be pushy and aggressive, right? X represents what they want, Y represents what they don't want. Simple formula, keeping it simple sells, right? How to get your roof repaired without having to come out of pocket a whole lot of money. How to get your roof fixed in 30 days without having to deal with an insurance company. How to get your roof repaired after a hailstorm without it increasing the cost of your insurance policy. By the way, that's a real thing in Texas, obviously. You guys know that are from locally here, right? It's already factored in. You're already fucking paying for it whether you claim it or not. But how to get X without doing Y. X represents what they want. Y represents what they don't want. So when you're talking on Facebook, when you're talking on video, when you're making your Instagram stories, be thinking about that. What do they want? What do they don't want? When you leave here, you need to really start mastering that offer. What is it that my people actually want? You know what they don't want? They don't want a fucking roof. Nobody in the middle of the night wakes up and goes, honey, I couldn't sleep because we just got to get a roof. You know, honey, I know we've been married for 20 years, and the one thing that I really want to give you, or the one thing that I really want for my birthday this year is a roof. You know, honey, I love you, and if you were to really give me a gift that means the world to me, it's a new toilet. That conversation doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. What happens? The toilet's clogged. We need another toilet. Fuck, we got hail, there's a hole in our roof. Somebody shot it with a submachine gun, right? Like that's what happens. So what do they want? They don't want their shit ruined. They don't want their ceiling to fall apart. They don't want their floor ruined. They don't want the toilet to overflow and turds floating down the hallway, right? We have to think about what it is that they truly don't want. You miss that. Nobody's sitting at their house on a Saturday afternoon going, can't wait for somebody to come talk about roofs with me. Man, you know what? Cowboys are down. It's the third quarter. I'd love to talk to somebody about a roof right now. You know, the only realistic part of that is the Cowboys being down in the third quarter. When I sold mortgages, I would smoke everybody. I only worked for 3 different companies, but I was always the top producer because I understood there wasn't a person on this planet that cared about mortgages, right? That just didn't exist. What do they want? House. They want a house. In the middle of the night, nobody rolls over on the pillow and goes, honey, we need 6.75% interest rate on a 30-year fix. That's what we need. They don't do that. They say, honey, you're pregnant. We don't have enough bedrooms for the amount of kids. We need a new house. Honey, our kids have gone to college. I think it's time we sell the house. You know? Honey, our bills are stacking up, and if we don't refinance this house and get cash out of it, we're not going to be able to pay them off. Honey, our bills are stacking up, and it looks like the interest rates are going down according to the internet, so maybe we can save some money and use that money to pay off some of our bills leveraging this house. Nobody's like, hey, you know what I'd love to do? I'd love to go into debt for 30 years to a bank that I'm gonna have to fucking call once a year, and they're gonna make me wait on hold for 20 minutes and push a bunch of buttons only to tell me they'll call me back and then not call me back. Nobody's doing that. So we have to understand what it is that they want, and then we also have to understand what it is that they don't want, right? Most of the time what they don't want is they don't want to overpay, they don't want to get stolen from, they don't want to get ripped off, they don't want to get into something that they can't get out of, right? They find out that you offer to sell them a roof for 30 grand and they find out somebody else can do it for 15, so they feel ripped off. Those are the things they're scared of. What do they not want? So when you leave here, you should write down, hey, what is it my prospect wants? And then you should probably read it again and go, they don't want any of this shit. Then you should think deeper. What do they really want? Okay? How do you get your offer in front of people? Teach you a process here online. It's called the media marketing method. We call it M3 for short. This has been around since the dawn of time. Literally the first time that this was put into play was in the days of the pyramid. They would have, the pharaoh would come out and they would have proclamations, and at the bottom there would be a call to action to come work in the pyramids. And the way that this works is 80% of the time you should be entertaining your audience. Social media, videos, email. 20% of the time, you need to be talking about your business. If you listen to the radio, you got 15 minutes worth of music, you got 5 minutes worth of commercials. If you watch anything other than football, you got 10, 15 minutes worth of actual entertainment TV, and then 3, 4, 5 minutes worth of commercials, right? You watch YouTube, you get to watch 1 or 2 videos, and then they put a 2-minute ad up. This works. You read a magazine, you got 1 page, 2 page, 3 page advertisement. You scroll Google, you got two or three things that come up, some ads. 80% of the page on Google is organic content, 20% paid ads. If you scroll your Facebook news feed, you get to see 4 or 5 posts from your friends and then 1 or 2 ads that slide in. This shit, like, you don't have to, it's like we were talking about this morning, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, you just get to run with this stuff. It's right there in front of you the whole time. Everybody uses it. You watch a podcast, you listen to Ed Milet's podcast, he talks for 10, 15 minutes, then there's an advertisement for something. Same with Joe Rogan, same with everybody. 80% entertainment, 20% offers. See, so many people think, okay, I'm gonna go to social media, I'm gonna go to YouTube, I'm gonna go to whatever platform it is, and I'm gonna talk about my business. Man, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. People don't buy from people that don't shut the fuck up about their business. You know? People buy from people they know, like, and trust. So how do you get them to know you? You get their attention. How do you get them to like you? It's that attraction and repel thing. You get them to buy into the things, right? What I'm into is not what everybody's into. But everybody's into something, and there's enough people that are into whatever you're into that it doesn't matter. Me and Frank one time were hanging out at his place in California, and he says something about cornhole. And I'm like, that's like some Beavis and Butthead shit. And he goes, I wonder where they came up with that. We looked it up. Turns out that's what they used to call bags. You know, like the thing you play at the bar, right? Where you throw it and it's got to go in the hole. That's actually called cornhole. And we find out there's this whole ass community that loved, way before it was popular today, this is about 15 years ago, it's a whole ass community of people that love that. And he's like, check out all these cornhole lovers, dude. People are into anything these days, right? There's always somebody into something. I've had plenty of clients come, and I'm like, so what are you into? We're doing an intake call with them. What are you into? They say the most obscure stuff, man. Well, I'm into ballet. Okay, there's a lot of people into ballet. They're probably not being sold to. They're probably being undersold. You sell roofs, you're into ballet, there's probably people that are into ballet. Put your offer out there to attract those people. Doesn't matter what it is, right? 20% of your time needs to be offers. If you've earned them knowing and liking you, the reason why I was able to get 120 leads from 1 Facebook post yesterday is because I've spent so much time entertaining people with shit that's funny about my family or stuff that makes them money or things that they can relate to, that occasionally when I'm like, hey, buy my shit, they're like, all right, he's somebody I know and like and I trust, so I probably could buy from him, you know? The E3 method, this is how you post This is how you do your videos. This is how you do your stories, okay? You're into something. Everybody here is into something. Some of you are weird. The rest of you, you know, you're all into something, right? But this E3 method allows you to have an experience in the moment. You see, the heart surgeon goes to work every day. It's fucking just a job. They go in there, they pull out the same scalpel, the anesthesiologist, hook up the tubes, go in there, been doing it for 20 years, it's just another dude with a heart attack that he's got to revive. It's totally normal to them. But if we were to hear that story, today I came in and I saved a 40-year-old guy that had an accident riding a bike, had a heart attack, fell over, blah, blah, we'd be like, wow, that's intriguing as hell. But they think it's boring because it's just part of their life, you know? But you have an experience, and then you extract the lesson from that experience. I'll give you a great example. My son Jackson, I told y'all this earlier, and I did this earlier too, he was kissing a girl at school the other day. They go to Christian private school up the street. Not exactly the best place to get caught kissing in the 6th grade, you know? Jesus is not happy, Mr. Stewman. And so I listen to it all the time. I got 4 kids in there. They know me and my wife by name. They know all of our kids very well. And none of my kids are very, if anybody here can vouch for that that's met them, my kids are very well behaved, but they're risk takers, right? They're future entrepreneurs and they're very good salespeople. I mean, they got a good leader and a good leader and a mom. Mom's a better salesperson than I am. But I think, okay, so Jackson has this moment where he gets caught kissing, so I have an experience. Then I talked to Jackson. I had to give him the sex talk, right? Which is really awkward. I don't care how cool of a dad you are when you're like, and look, man, I never got the birds and the bees, so I'm not even sure how the fuck that works out because birds don't fuck bees, so I'm not sure how that story even came about, right? So, you know, I'm like, listen, birds, bees, listen, there's a chick and like a dude, and you know, that thing you got, she's got, I'm trying to explain this shit to him in the most PC way, you know. And so we have the talk, and I tell him, hey, here's what you got to do. You got to call the mom, and you got to talk to her. And he goes, Mom works at the school. I'll go talk to her. So I have this experience. I extract the lesson. Hey, you got to be respectful to the parents. That's the lesson, right? You didn't disrespect the daughter because you really like her, and y'all been together for 3 or 4 months this entire school season, but you got to go be respectful of the parents. So I take this, have this experience, extract the lesson from it. Then I go entertain my audience with it. That post got 1,000 likes. You know, I could have just simply went out. Kid kissed a girl at school today. Had to have the talk. That's cool. But the fact that I extracted a lesson from that, here's how you can respect parents because I wanted my son to respect their daughter and all this other stuff. Here's the lesson. And I entertained the audience with it. And this was like 3 or 4 days ago. I think it was on Monday. They got 1,000 likes. It's not because, oh, I'm popular. I am the most, next to Alex Jones, I'm the most shadow banned motherfucker on the internet. I'm not lying. I have people that work at Facebook that go, I don't know what the fuck they did to your profile, but you're fucked. That's how good of a marketer I am though, because despite me being shadow banned like that, I still get a ton of engagement. I have hackers that work for the Department of Defense, I'm not even making this up, that have a backdoor to Meta, and they went, we've never seen code like this in any profile that we've ever seen before, right? I know when it started. When I started writing them Trump articles on the Huffington Post. That site was super liberal, and they gave me a login, and I thought, oh, this is great. This is fucking great, and I know somebody somewhere called somebody and went, fucking nuke this guy's page. That and the fact that I'm hardcore closer, that didn't help either. You know what I mean? Because hardcore is typically associated with porn, not sales. And so that doesn't help either. Literally, I look at Blake sitting in the back, he posted the other day, he had 2 million impressions and like 300,000 people engaged with him over the course of a month, 2 million impressions. I look at my shit, I get 100,000 impressions and 200,000 people engaged with it. It's like, how the fuck did you get 200,000 people only showing 100? This is some backwards ass math, but that's what they've done to my profiles. It's okay. Right now we're in the process of removing 40,000 Department of Defense bots from my Hardcore Closer Instagram page. That's the shit that I've had to deal with. Now I tell you that because the only reason I'm getting any engagement is because I'm following these these things. I'm that good because I've done this for so long that I shouldn't even exist on the internet, period. I've got a strike one time. I have a very diverse set of friends. And one time, 3 people in a row brought 3 of my African-American friends onto my podcast, Tommy Vex, Cafe Anderson, and David Harris Jr. David Harris Jr. is a big political guy, if you've ever seen him. He's super shadow banned now, so you probably don't see him at all. He gets on there, and this was in 2020. He's talking about vaccines and all this other shit. Then Tommy Vex comes on there, and he's the singer for, now he sings for his own band, but he used to be the singer for Bad Wolves. And he's on there, and he's talking about the vax and all this shit. And then Cafe Anderson comes on there, and he's talking about Jesus, because Cafe is one of my best friends. He's just a good-ass dude, cowboy, right? But they're all very staunch Republican guys. And I had never been in any trouble on YouTube, and my channel had 90,000 followers, and they gave me a strike for all 3 of them. All 3 of them. And like, none of us said anything that wasn't true. None of us did anything. And so they shadow banned me. So just last night, I got somebody that's like, how does Stewman's videos not have millions of views? It's like, I know. I know, watch what you say. Freedom of speech ain't free no more. So, but having these experiences, extracting these lessons and entertaining people is what still kept me going all these years later. So here's what I want you guys to think about. How can you pair marketing with sales so that you can go to the next level? Okay? The Dream 25. A lot of people get into business, they get into sales, and they have no idea who their perfect prospect is, right? We'll make up this avatar. We'll say, you know, my perfect prospect is probably this guy named Jim, and Jim's got a family of 4, and you know, he drives a Buick to work, and you know, he works as a chiropractor, and he lives in a $500,000 house. It's like, dude, all that's some made up bullshit. You just design somebody that doesn't exist instead of figuring out who the fuck exists in your marketplace and having a conversation with them. Dream 25, 25 people that you can get business from. But I have this theory, I call it the grandkids theory. Like, I don't want, like, you sell roofs, I'm guessing? No? Yes?
Actually, an investor.
Well, you're what? Investor, okay. You sell roofs? Yes, Perimeter Roofing. So you're with Todd, okay? So you were there for our meeting about a month ago, right? Okay. So most people, here's what they do. They say, well, you know, well, I know John, and he owns a house. And it's a nice house, so he's like my dream client. But I think of it this way. There's kids and grandkids, right? As a parent, I'm responsible for my kids for the rest of their life. You know, my son's 25, my oldest son's 12, but if he turns 25 and he needs some money, and you know, I gotta provide for that if he can't provide for himself yet. But by the time he has kids, I'm not really responsible for those grandkids. They come over for the summer, I spoil the shit out of them. 30 days later, they're not my problem anymore, right? I love them, I get to spoil them, but I gotta take care of the kids. The kids bring me the grandkids, and I get the pleasure of the grandkids, but I'm not responsible for the grandkids. I look at that same equation in referral partners. I'm not trying to chase the end buyer, the end user. I'm trying to find the best referral partners, right? If I'm responsible for the referral partners and they bring the grandkids in, the clients, that's the best scenario for me, you know? So many people, they make up their own avatar, or they know one person that owns a house and they think that's their dream client. You guys that are roofers, who's your dream client? An insurance agent. What? Fuck. Especially State Farm, right? Y'all love them. But I learned that in Atlanta with you guys. Like, I mentioned State Farm, they're like, man, fuck those guys. But even State Farm agents need roofs, you know? Hey, I'm telling you, if I didn't know guys like Kurt Lennington and Kaiser, right? Obviously, they're here in Dallas. If I didn't know those guys, right, and I didn't know a roofer, the first person I'm gonna call if my roof gets messed up is my insurance agent. Hey, Jared, my roof's fucked up. Who do you recommend? The average person, that's who they're calling, their insurance agent, because that's who's gonna pay for it. So how would you get, if you put an insurance agent on your Dream 25 people that you dream of doing business with and getting repeat and referral business from, right? How do you get an insurance agent to give you business? It's real simple. Let me give you this word track. Hey, my name's Ryan, and I know you work for State Farm. I'm just kidding, but I know you work for State Farm, and I'm constantly on roofs. And listen, I learned this in Atlanta. State Farm sucks, so let's Let's do it this way. Hey, my name's Ryan, and I know you work for Travelers. You're a great insurance company. I'm constantly on roofs around DFW, and the number one complaint I hear from homeowners is that they can't get a hold of their insurance agent. The process was a pain in the ass. They didn't pay enough money, and they want to switch insurance companies. I'd like to come to your office and meet with you and see if I could give you some referrals that would help you service some of these clients that I'm running across. Are you open to that? Who doesn't want referrals, right? We give them what they want. You know, I keep running into these State Farm people. They're pissed off at the whole process. I'd like to move them over to Travelers. Would you be okay? Why would I go to their office? Because I don't want to invite them to coffee. If they're busy, I'm going to hit up the top producers. I'm not going to hit up the losers. I'm going to go to Google and see who the top producing insurance agents are. And I'm going to hit those people up. Top producers are busy. So I'm not going to ask them to leave. I'm not going to ask them to go out of the way. I'm not going to say, can I buy you a drink, buy you steak? They can buy their own shit. I'm going to say, if I can come by your office and talk to you about how I can give you business, then guess what happens? Yeah, hell yeah, I'd love to get some business from you. Okay, cool. Then when you show up, you're interviewing them all of a sudden, because now all of a sudden you're about to give them business. So tell me about your process. You know? All right. Tell me how this works. Okay. What? Now I'm talking to 3 or 4 other insurance agents because I want to make sure that my clients get the best service possible. Why should I choose you over them? Okay. Perfect. Now here's my big question for you. If I send you 2 or 3 deals a month, would you be open to sending me 1 or 2 deals a month in exchange, because I believe business and referral should be reciprocal? Well, yeah, I'd do that. Okay, cool. Well, here's what I'm going to do. The next person that complains, I'm going to send them your way. I'm going to trust you with 1 deal. But what I would ask you to do is the next person that calls you that needs a roof, that has a problem with their roof or anything wrong with their house, call me first so I can take a look at it. Can we get that agreement first so that we can start this business off on a reciprocal, same foot relationship? Yeah, hell yeah, I can do that. All right, perfect. When I was a loan officer, way back before the internet and shit, I used to walk into like a Keller Williams office in Frisco, Texas, and I'd come in there with a folder in my hand, and I'd say, I have a pre-approved prospect that needs to go house shopping this weekend that's looking for a $400,000 home in either Plano or Frisco. Which one of you guys would like to show my client? And they were like, oh, me. Yeah, dude, I would love that. Okay, cool. I'm also looking for someone who's got someone for me to pre-qualify right now. Who's got somebody that needs me to pre-qualify them? Right? Because I'm not trying to do business with losers. If you don't got business with me, you don't got business for me or business for yourself, what the hell am I going to? I'm not going to be responsible for your family. I want to work with winners where we can trade deals. So who will give you the most business? Dream referral partners, kids versus grandkids there. Level 2, once you master those 2 skills, level 2, you become self-employed. This could also be said for an intrapreneur. A lot of y'all are 1099. Which means that you're technically self-employed. You just work under the umbrella of some roofing company or some contracting company. So if you're employed, you want to go to the next level, you want to become self-employed. Self-employed, which means you work for yourself. Skill number 1 you got to have to level up from there is you got to learn hiring. I suck at hiring. I'll just be honest, terrible at it. 2002, 2004, sorry. There was a lady that pulls into the car wash. She was a regular customer, older lady named Monica Hubbard. She's passed away now. She said, every time I come into this car wash, I see you write me a ticket, you sell me some bullshit I don't need, then you go vacuum my car, then you go pull my car on the track and spray it off, and half the time you do the windows and wipe it off up front. You got to be the hardest working person I have ever seen ever. I'd like to give you a job. And that was a shining moment for me, because my whole life, nobody had ever given me a shot. Nobody had ever given me a chance. Nobody had ever believed in me. But this old woman, she believed in me and she was willing to give me a shot. And I said, well, what do you do? She said, I do mortgages. I said, I never heard that word in my life. So what is that? She kind of snickered a little bit and she said, what's home loans? Like someone borrows money to go buy a house. And I went, lady, I don't know anything about banks or money. I don't have a bank account, paid cash for my truck over there. She goes, well, I'd still like to give you a job because if you'll work half as hard for me as you are at this car wash for minimum wage, then you could become a millionaire. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think, millionaire? Pfft, this lady's on crack, you know? I said, man, I appreciate the job offer, but I got a job here. And she said, no, seriously, I want you to come work for me Monday. You could really become a millionaire. And I said, well, I got this little problem. She goes, what? I said, I'm a convicted felon. I'm still on parole. She goes, actually, I wasn't on parole at this time. I just got off. I said, I'm a convicted felon. I just got off parole. She said, oh, well, what were you in prison for? And I said, possession of cocaine. She goes, oh, fuck, you're going to get along fine in our business, you know? But it was this one lady that believed in me, and I quit my job that Saturday. Monday, I went to work for her. Within 45 days, I'd made about $30,000, which was a half a year's work at the car wash, right? Almost a whole year's work at the car wash. I remember going in there. She gave me a book. I read the book. I became top producer about 4 or 5 months later. The guys are sitting around there. How did you do it? I read the book. I did what the book said. What book? You guys didn't read the book? Fucking the answer's right there in front of you. You guys are too busy drinking with realtors that ain't got no damn business. You missed the whole book. It taught me everything I need to know. But I suck at hiring because I see Ryan at the car wash that that was 2004 and 2005, I made $773,000. I did become a millionaire. Still a millionaire today because of that. I've been a millionaire longer than some of my sales teams even been alive. And like most millionaires, I've given it up a few times, right? Divorce, prison again. I went back. I liked it that much. And so, you know, fucking bad decisions and shit like that, you know. But like Brandon's like, I learned my lesson. Like it took me twice, you know, and I'm trying to avoid the third time. But I see young Ryan that just needs a shot in everybody. But that's why I've got Sean. Sean's great at hiring, right? Somebody hits Sean up. Sean's like, that guy ain't the fucking one for us. Man, I want to give everybody a shot. You know, and it's bitten me in the ass more times than I can count. But it's a skill set that you have to master hiring people if you're going to go to the next level, because you're going to be self-employed forever if you don't have a team. If you don't got nobody to work for you, you're going to be self-employed forever, you know? So how do you hire A players? Are they self-driven? Right? Like I said, I see, and I've learned this from Sean and Patrick Bet-David over the last year. It's like, are they self-driven? Because look, the last thing I want to do is hire somebody and then they'll be an order taker and I got to tell them every move to make. I ain't got time for that. I'm the CEO of a company. I'm fucking busy as hell, right? Are they self-driven? One of the things that we've learned is we like to hire people that are in a relationship, people that have kids, because even if they're not self-driven, they've got hungry kids and a spouse that they've got to take care of. Single people, you know, like nothing wrong with them, but you hire, in my case, you hire a single person, they might have an outstanding month, they got no responsibility, no kids. The next month, they don't necessarily got to show up to work. Doesn't make them bad people, but I need somebody who's got, you know, I got 4 kids I got to take care of. I need people who have families. Do they have an internal motivation, right? Like for me, what drives me to show up to work every day is my kids, and now the employees that I'm responsible for. So I'm looking for somebody that's like me. Do they have something that's motivating them? It can't be money. Money's not motivating. Like, sure, we all want some more, but it's what we're going to do with that money that matters. That's the motivating factor. Do they have a proven track record? Man, before we hire anybody here, we do background checks, credit checks, and we call the last 3 places they have listed on LinkedIn. Top producer over at Dillard's. Green. Hey, you know John Smith, say he was the top producer over here? That motherfucker was last place. We fired him, and he spent more time on the company toilet than he did the telephone. That's all I need to know. Because here's what happens. People show up to a job interview like Step Brothers. They got a tuxedo on, talking about you get 2 for the price of 1 and shit like that. 6 months later, they show up wearing Daisy Dukes and a freaking shirt with their tummy hanging out, talking about show up in pajamas and, you know, all this other shit, because people don't always put their best foot forward. These are lessons we've had to learn, you know, the hard way. They got a proven track record. What did they do before this? You know, I don't want to be your first job. I've done that for some people, and it sucks because they start to think that all jobs are this easy. All jobs are this driven. All jobs are gonna operate this way. I want you to have worked somewhere that was tough to work at, and then you come over here and you see how you can fit into our systems and it be good. Are they stable with wife and kids, like I said? What's that motivation? People that got a wife and kids, husband and kids, if you're hiring a woman, or whatever, it's 2024, I don't give a fuck, right? But do they got somebody that loves them? I guess that's important, right? Because if they ain't got nobody that loves them, then all they're gonna do is get in the way on the job anyway. Okay, they got to have some sort of stability, just like I was talking about my friend Mike. Okay, trust but verify. Hey, I was top producer. Okay, cool. Where? What was your manager's name? Pull up your phone. What's his phone number? Let's call him real quick. Well, by top producer, I mean, you know, of my cubicle. Okay, now that we're being honest, now that you failed the integrity test, we know you don't fit here. Like I said, we do background checks, you know. I was about to hire a guy a couple months ago, great fucking dude. Worked for Trump's team. He said, we pulled his background. Hey man, you didn't tell me you were a felon. Well, you know, I'm on deferred adjudication for it. It wasn't really supposed to show up on my record. It's there. We got a lot of money floating around here. You went to jail for embezzlement. Man, you're a good dude, but can't trust you around the money here. We got too many business owners, too many people that talk money here, man. Sorry, you're a great dude. I like you. You know, I can't really give you a recommendation somewhere else, but you're just not a fit for our organization. I really wanted to hire this fucking guy too. But you have standards and core values. You have to stick to them, because if not, then somebody on your team finds out and they're like, oh, maybe he's not who he says he is. Maybe our leader doesn't really hold that standard. Number 2 is a credit check. If you don't pay your fucking bills, you're not responsible. Credit should be the most important thing to everybody. And look, we all gone through some hard times, but even when I came out of prison the second time, my credit was still good. I didn't have a whole lot of it. I didn't have mortgages and shit like that before I went in. I had time to take care of all that stuff, but credit's important. You know, if you don't have credit, you can't get anything. Can't get a credit card, can't get a loan from Closer Capital, you can't get a mortgage, can't go buy a car, or you're gonna have to pay outrageous fees at tote the note lots and stuff like that. But credit, a good credit score, is a sign of responsibility. Our number 1 core value is responsibility. So I want somebody to have good credit, because good credit is a sign. Now look, they don't gotta have an 800. They ain't gotta show up wearing white New Balances to work every day and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucking driving a Corvette from the 90s with white New Balances and some khaki shorts on. That's somebody with an 800 credit score, y'all. Okay? But and you know, there's people that work in my organization that made mistakes 5 or 10 years ago and just never got new credit, but I can see the last thing that reported on their credit was an old charge off electricity bill or cards that they haven't had in a long time. It's not the end of the world, but I want to know, if you're applying for my job and you're 2 months behind on your mortgage, you might say something fucked up to my people so that you can make a sale and pay your mortgage and catch it back up. You know, that's not ideal for me. You might promise somebody something so that you can make a sale so that you can take care of your stuff, and that's not ideal for me. So I want to make sure that I know what it is that they have in their credit. And I'm gonna call their last couple of employers. Most people, they'll tell you in their resume the highlights of where they work, but if you go to LinkedIn, it'll really show you where they work. Because not enough people log into LinkedIn and they forget to take off the jobs that they got fired from or whatever. That's the best place to look. Then you can give them personality tests. Kenny talked about the DISC test. There's a test called the DART triad. It figures out somebody's propensity to lie and be deceitful and be manipulative. And it's a free test. You can have somebody take it, and it'll tell you if you can trust this person or not. It asks the same questions like in different formats, like 5 or 6 times over, and it says this person has a high propensity to be full of shit, a high propensity to manipulate people. DART triad test. I actually learned that from Ty Lopez, a liar, you know, coincidentally. Number 2, if you're gonna go to the next level, is training, right? You can hire people, but if you can't train them, then what good is hiring them? We gotta be able to train people. Now, I'm not the best at hiring, Sean is, but I'm real fucking good at training people, okay? But I like to train one and done. Okay, I don't want to spend the next 6 months with you telling you the same shit because you didn't take action and me going, no, same thing I said before, no. I hate repeating myself. I hate going back and I hate repeating myself so much that if I leave the house and forget my computer, fuck it, I'm just going to send out carrier pigeons today. No emails for me. Fuck it, I'll work from my phone. Like, I don't turn around, I don't backtrack. I ain't never called an ex-girlfriend after we broke up talking about, hey, I'm gonna come over, I know it's 2 in the morning. I don't go back to shit. That's just how I am. There's no turning back. That's just how I roll. So when I train somebody, I want to train them one and done. So I'll train them over Zoom, then I'll shoot them the recording. Don't ask me. Here's the Otter AI, and here's the Zoom. Figure it the fuck out. Consult the Google, right? I create playbooks. Dylan, do we have our playbook sitting back there by chance? So when you start here at any of my companies, we have a little playbook. First thing it does is Dream 25, E3, M3. It gives you a cheat sheet, our products, our catch script, our selling process, all that stuff like Josh was talking about this morning, so that when you get started on the job, you get handed a spiral. You like, go through this, watch these videos, scan this QR code, take this training. It's not thick. It's not 60 pages like Josh's. Well, it might be because there's a monthly for 12 months, Dream 25. But it's 15 or 20 pages. But that, plus a Zoom or 2 recording, plus putting them, now we have digital training programs to where it's like, here it's required to watch a video of mine a day, okay? That should be in your back of your head at all times. You're gonna work for me, you need to think like me, act like me, be like me. You need to watch my videos and figure out how I think. But I don't have to shoot those videos every day. I'm having Tim watch videos from 5, 6 years ago. Tim hits me up, he goes, fuck, you were the original. Oh, thank you, Dylan, you're awesome, man. Tim hits me up the other day, he's like, you're the original Andrew Tate. You were cussing out people and calling them broke pieces of shit a long time ago. It's like, yeah, man, I've been blocked on YouTube for a long time. I helped a lot of people get started over the years through old trainings, you know? But when you come here, this is our playbook. It's not that thick, but I got this from Patrick Bet-David, who's a good friend of mine. It's, you know, it's something they can be proud of, something they can put in their backpack. It's got our insignia and our logo, just like Dustin was talking about over there. And it tells them, hey, here's what the G code is, here's our core values for our company, and then it's got my signature at the bottom, which is clearly digital, because that's not how I sign. Then we give them the Dream 25. We say, hey, come in here and fill this out first month with 25 people. And the way this Dream 25 works is, at the end of month 1, if they close 4 or 5 of them, they write the rest of them here and they add a new 4 or 5 people to their Dream 25, right? So there's 12 months of that in here. Then we've got the E3, M3 with a video for them to watch that they can scan with their phone with a QR code, just like we were talking about a second ago. They've got all of our regular questions and objections and how to handle the objections that you guys give us, right? Then we have our script in here. So this book is like really simple, so that if I train somebody, videos, here's the playbook, get to work, then we can test them on it. It's all good. We probably do sales trainings here between Sean and I 4 days a week. We'll just randomly tell people, hey, tomorrow be at the office at 8. Hey, tomorrow be at the office at 8:30. Most people are here before then anyway, because we're working on different coasts across the country. So we come in early, we stay late, because that's what winners do. And so we'll say, hey, let's have a meeting at 8. Let's have a meeting at 9. We'll go in there. Hey, what are you guys seeing? How can we lean into you? Here's our thing. We're constantly training these people. We record all of it, and then we put it into our company training system. So again, the digital training program. So every training we do is recorded. For 6 months, I was pulling salespeople up here on the stage in front of the other salespeople, and I was role playing with them. I'd be the customer. They'd be the person that was selling me. And then I'd interrupt them and I'd say, next time say it this way. Next time do it this way. Next time do it this way. Cade records all of them, puts them in our company training platform, they get access to them. We also set clear goals and expectations. We have these inside of the playbooks. We also have scorecards, which we just digitized where they don't have to fill them out individually anymore. But we have the goals, like, hey, if you're working here, your goal is to collect a minimum of $1,000 of cash a day. Someone like Zach that's been here for a long time, his minimum is $7,500 a day, right? That's our goal, okay? Here's our expectation that you do that. You get on the phone. There was a time when I walked through the hallway and I had to ask everybody, why are you not on the phone? Why are you not on the phone? They gave me a bunch of excuses. Now I walk through the hallway like there ain't never a time when everybody's not on the phone or Zoom. Never a time. For the last 6-8 weeks, everybody's always on the phone, always on a Zoom. We set the goal. With the original guys, we just didn't set the goal and expectations right. With the new guys we have. Daily unavoidable metrics. Watch my video, right? Collect at least $1,000. 25 phone calls. These are the things that we make our people do. It's very clear, very set expectations. We're going through the process and we're hiring them. We've got the cheat sheets. We've got what our prices are, what our objections are, all of that good stuff. And then we got those scorecards. Listen, we can't just put somebody in the truck and take them for a drive and go, watch how I flow. And go knock on a door and expect them to have the same riz as you got. No, you got to set up systems. If you're going to sell your business, like Todd was talking about, you got to have systems. Without systems, you've just got salespeople winging it. And nobody's buying salespeople winging it. And this isn't just for salespeople. I just happen to be the sales guy trainer. My wife trains people in the operations side of things, right? She mother ducks them. That's what she does. Not motherfucks them, mother ducks them. Big difference. Autocorrect, I thought maybe y'all thought that I auto-corrected myself there, you know, like a phone or something. But she just, you know, mother ducks them along the way. Level 3. So we got so far, level 1, employed, sales and marketing. Level 2, self-employed, training and hiring. Level 3, you're a CEO. You've hired people, you've trained them, now you're a CEO. Just because you got an LLC and you put yourself down as CEO or president don't mean shit. You president of what? You? Sounds awesome. No, we need to be president and CEO of people, okay? Nobody's buying you. There's a reason why Apex isn't Ryan Stewman University or Ryan Stewman Inner Circle or Ryan Stewman Mastermind. Why? Because I don't want it to be about me because I can't sell me. I can't replace me. If Sean or somebody ends up becoming CEO or the face of this thing one day so I can go back into the shadows and not take all the fucking kick in the nuts that it is to be in the public persona all the time, it's great too, but not always. And so if Sean or somebody can replace me at some point in the future, whoever that person is, I needed to create something that I can be the CEO of, but I don't necessarily have to be the face. I need to create something that's not just about me. So skill number 1 as a CEO is leadership. Tony talked a lot about this today, right? What makes a good leader? You gotta be a culture creator. Kaiser talked about culture today. Great speech. But what creates a culture? Core values. Cade, what's core value number 1 here? What's that mean? Dylan, what's number 2? What's that mean? Who we got out there? Brandon, is that you? What's number 3? What's that mean? Who else we got out there? Somebody else that works for me, yell it out. Excellence, thank you. What's that mean? Right? Man, we drill that shit every fucking meeting. Every meeting. Because that's what our culture's created on. So we says responsibility, we make no excuses, right? If we take responsibility, we learn a lesson. If we give away an excuse, somebody else or something else learns that lesson. Integrity, we do what we say we're gonna do when we say we're gonna do it. It's just the way we roll. If we tell you we're gonna help you make $1 million, which we will never fucking say that, but if we did, we better fucking help you do it, right? Service, servant leadership, I think is what Kaiser said, right? With us, service is going above and beyond, which don't take much these days, by the way, right? And excellence, anything that's gonna have excellence comes from doing the work. So here we believe in doing the work, right? We have a clear vision. Our company, everything else, we help people become the greatest version of themselves, and we represent what winning looks like at all times. A lot of people, they come to work here and Sean's like, you gotta get in the gym. What? I thought I was taking a job. You are. That requires you to get in the gym. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. We want you to be healthy. We want you to be healthy, wealthy, and happy. But we don't want you to make a whole bunch of money and have to give it to the doctor because you didn't take care of yourself. We don't want you to, we don't want you to make a whole bunch of money and then have to spend it on the wrong things that don't help you along the way. How are you gonna sell helping people become a better version of themselves if you're not the best version of yourself? They know the mission, right? The mission is to represent winning looks like at all times. But here's what makes a good leader. It's not just do what I say. It's do as I do, right? Follow what I do. Don't listen to what I say. Words are bullshit. Watch what I do. Hopefully, if I'm living in integrity, my words line up with my actions. But don't just listen to my words. Watch how I carry myself. You know? That's why I think I have good kids. I'll never tell my kids, listen, do as I say, not as I do. No, roll like me. Don't roll like me 20 years ago, you wind up in prison. But roll like me now. You know? My kids respect it. I think I've got kids that are preteens. A lot of people say, wait till they're 13. Wait till they're 15. You're not going to get along with them. Why? Why wouldn't I get along with them? My kids honor me. They respect me because I don't lie to them. There's not going to be a gotcha moment where they're like, did you know Dad went to prison? You know, I was up in Oklahoma. I haven't smoked weed for 90 days today, but I was up in Oklahoma. Thank you. Had a big problem, man. Like Willie Nelson would call me like, bro, you need to fucking chill, right? Like Snoop Dogg's like, bro, you're smoking. You're not leaving enough for the rest of us. It was a fucking problem. But about 6 months ago, I'm up in Oklahoma, I'm smoking behind the barn. It's legal up there, by the way. I'm smoking behind the barn. My neighbor's got fucking 50 grow houses up there on the neighboring property. And I'm up there smoking, and my son comes around the corner. He goes, Dad, are you smoking weed? Like, what the fuck are they teaching you in school? He goes, well, it doesn't smell like Mom's cigarettes. His mom is obviously not Amy. And he goes, well, it doesn't smell like cigarettes. And I think that's what weed smells like, huh? I had a choice right then. Do I lie to him? Nah, man, it's Lucky Strikes or whatever the fuck, right? Or just tell them the truth. Yeah, I'm smoking this shit. I highly recommend you never get into it. You know, it's probably one of the biggest problems I've ever had, son. But I'm not gonna lie to you, you know? So my kid's not gonna have a reason to rebel at some point. Then now, guess what? He's seen me quit. He knows that I've got months now that I haven't smoked it after smoking it my entire life because I can see that little light bulb go off like, you smoke that shit all the fucking time. I'm just now figuring out that that's what that is. My dad's a pothead, right? But again, he's not gonna have to rebel at that because I just kept it real with him. He's not gonna one day find out, well, I smoke it because they're gonna do as I do, not as I say. That's how kids roll. That's how employees roll too, by the way. Okay? If I'm full of shit and I'm telling everybody we're running a $100 million a year company and we're running a $10 million a year company, my employees are gonna go, oh, it's okay to lie to people. Let's just 10x the lie. No, we just keep it real. It's way easier. Just lead the right way. Be the example, right? Create other examples. Wait, Todd called it the tribe of tribes. Create other examples. You know, Sean's a great example. Sasser's a great example. Kay, Dylan, they're great examples. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to create a culture where I'm not the only winner. I'm not the only person of authority. I'm not the only leader. You know? It's taken a while with Dylan, but he's come along. It wouldn't be right if I didn't bust your ass every chance I get, man. I like you that much. That's how you know I like you. Skill number 3 is brand building. Okay? What makes a strong brand? Okay, skill number 1 is leadership. Skill number 2 at level 3 is what makes a strong brand. Consistency. Biggest brand in the world, Coca-Cola. You can open a Coca-Cola in Dallas, Texas, and it tastes the same as LA, California, which tastes the same as Timbuktu, China. Consistent as fuck. You know, wherever you go in the world and you open a Coca-Cola, it tastes the same. Second biggest brand in the world is the Dallas Cowboys. You know they suck every fucking year, no matter what. Consistently gonna fuck if they make it to the playoffs, consistently gonna fuck up the first game at the last minute when it matters the most in the fucking playoffs, consistent as fuck. It's real shit, y'all. Okay, consistency comes from KPIs, key performance indicators, right? If we care about the same things over and over again, we become consistent. Standard operating procedures. The same way that they make Coca-Cola in China is the same way that they make it in Dallas. I don't know if they make it here, but you get the point, right? What I love about, for example, well, let's just roll right here. Coca-Cola, Coke tastes the same in Dallas and Denmark. Chick-fil-A, what do they say every time, right? Welcome to Chick-fil-A. How may I serve you? Right? Every time, anywhere, you go to Chick-fil-A in the hood, or you go to Chick-fil-A in the rich neighborhood, you go to Chick-fil-A in the country, you go to Chick-fil-A in the city. Hi, welcome to Chick-fil-A, how may I serve you? McDonald's ain't that way. You go to McDonald's, a nice neighborhood, they're like, welcome to McDonald's, what you want? You go to McDonald's, a bad neighborhood, like, what the fuck you want, right? Like, you don't know what the fuck you're gonna get, right? CC's Pizza. What do they say every time you walk through the door? Welcome to CC's, every time. Then when you leave, thank you for coming to CC's, every single time. You try to sneak out, they're like, sir, thank you for coming to CC's, right? There's no getting away from them. Good part of town, bad part of town, Texas, North Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth, doesn't matter, it's gonna be the same. So that's how you create consistency. You have standard operating procedures and KPIs. Level 4 is like Todd. When you're an owner, you're not really working on the business or not really working in the business. You've got other leaders, you've got people, you've been bought out. Maybe you have a portion of ownership, maybe you have a portion of retention, you've given up some of your equity, you've made your money. At this level, and I'm not there yet, so I'm only speaking from, I can speak the rest of this from experience, but I can only talk about this from third-party experience now watching some of my clients, because we've had almost $1 billion in exits at this point come through Apex, which is pretty damn cool. You know, one day I aim to be like that, but I did get an email earlier, somebody that was interested in buying one of my companies, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know how that works or not, but I've seen people do this, so I kind of know the path that I've got to go down. It's not Apex, don't worry, it's just one of my other companies. So at this point, you got to learn tax minimization. Kenny was up here. This is what he said. We've got the trust set up, because I sent him to my attorney to do this. We got the trust set up. We got the structure right, so that when I sell this company for $100 million, I don't get hit with a $50 million fucking tax bill, and it was for nothing. Sounds good on paper, but that's not what I left with. Now I got to give my employees out of my 50 million, not out of my 100 million, because I didn't set the thing up right. So when you're CEO, you want to go to the next level, you start setting up your trust and everything to minimize taxes. You want to know your tax advantage. Trust is one of them. Tax shelters. If you're cool, you get a Bahamian bank account, just saying. Tax-driven investments, right? You can invest in oil, real estate, things that'll offset your taxes that you got coming through. One of my great friends, Bobby Castro, sold his company for $1.8 billion. He set up a 100-year legacy plan, cash money, by the way, 100% year in the same business as Closer Capital, so I'm following in his footsteps. He set it up on a 100-year legacy to where every month him and his wife get $500,000 after taxes coming in. He went out and bought the right assets, set up the right tax shelters to be able to do this. His kids every month get $50,000 each coming in after taxes. His grandkids every month get $10,000 coming in every month after taxes. Why? Because before he sold his company, he said, wait, I like your offer, we're gonna take it. I need 9 months to get all my finances and everything else in order so that when we sell this, there's no capital gains, we can put it up with the family office and get this done. This is what you gotta learn. It's boring as fuck. Most of the shit that I listed is boring as fuck, but it'll save your ass in the future. Because here's what happens, you sell your company for 10 million, you think, hell yeah, I got 10 million. Nope, now you got 7 if you don't set it up right, because they're gonna take 30, 40, 50% of your money, so let's just say you got 7. Then you go buy a $2 million house, now you got 5. You go buy that Lambo that you've always wanted, now you got 4.5. You go buy the Rolex and the fancy vacation and all to take a month off, and now you got 4. And then you got 40 years of your life left because you're 40 years old and not 80, and you gotta live on $4 million for the rest of your life. Ain't happening, Captain. Welcome to minimum wage. But if you do it right, you can get that 10 million to pay you $250,000, $300,000 a year without it ever touching the principal for the rest of your life, without having to pay capital gains taxes for the rest of your life, and you learn to live on the level that you've got. The next thing is financial expansion. You gotta learn how to invest that money, right? How do you keep it? When you work so fucking hard to sell the company, how do you get to keep that how do you get to keep that money? You gotta make the right investments. I know all about making the wrong ones. I've made some good ones too. We got a $93 million apartment complex closing this month. So we've made some good investments too, but I got to the good investments by making bad ones. The bad ones hurt 10 times worse than the good ones feel when you win, but you learn the lessons. At least I do. You learn the lessons from the bad ones. I bought like 30 restaurants one time in 2020. I ain't seen a fucking dime from any of them. You know? Seemed good. I'm like, hey, I want to buy land. I want to own software, I want to own real estate, and I want to be in the food business because if the end of the world comes, I got a place to go to, a food distribution channel to get food to myself, and I got a tax shelter so that I can take care of myself, right? Fuck food. Fuck food and beverage. I'm just saying. You got to know, right? IRAs. A lot of you guys are young in here. If you're not putting money every year in your IRA, you should. You can put like $56,000, $60,000 a year into that shit. That's 600 grand every 10 years. You make $250,000 a year, you're gonna pay taxes anyway. You can put $60,000 a year into your IRA, and you don't have to pay, that's less money you gotta pay on taxes, and then when you need money, you can always borrow against it. It's still there, okay? I hear people all the time go, like Cardone, oh, your 401k is trash. Not mine, I got a little money in mine. You know, it's actually pretty nice because I've been diligent about it. I got an IRA, got a little money in that thing because I've been diligent about it. Turns out buying Tesla stock's not such a bad idea. You can put Bitcoin in that shit. I own real estate, electricity futures, all sorts of shit in my IRA. It doesn't just have to be something that some money manager guy goes out there. I can't touch none of it, but if I needed to, I could borrow against it. If I had to, I could liquidate it and pay the tax for it, right? It's not like completely untouchable Fort Knox money, but these are the kind of things that you have to set up. Family office. I have a family office. I have people that watch my money. Now they tell me what not to invest in. I didn't have them back in the day. They tell me, they watch my money, they help me give tax advice, they want what's best for me, they offer me investment opportunities with a registered investment agent, things of that nature that make sense, which is why you want to align with verified pros. And by the way, you want to interview the family office, the registered investment advisor, the RIA. You want to interview these people harder than any employee you've ever had in your life. Let me talk to 20 of your clients. Let me show me your projections. Show me the last 5 years profit and loss from the recommendations that you've given people, because they're about to take care of your money. They're the Wolf of Wall Street. You know, that's them right there. You want to make sure you get the right one, or you're going to end up like those people from JT Marlin in Boiler Room. It's very important, because let me tell you about your money, okay? I like you, you're a cool dude, but if you give me your money, there's no way I'm working as hard for it as I'm working for my money, right? And you cool as shit, but I didn't work for yours. So it's not the same. I'll risk your money all goddamn day long, buddy, you know? All fucking day. Mine, not the same. Not the fucking same. So you gotta really interview these people, you know? You gotta make sure you got the right folks. Generational dividends, like my buddy Bobby was talking about, put it in things that are gonna consistently pay you out. Safe havens for your cash, you know, like a fire safe box in your house. Cash is pretty, you know, there's only $2 trillion in cash in an $18 trillion economy of the US. $16 trillion is just a woozy, a wazi, like Matthew McConaughey said. You know, they cut our fucking credit cards off. We are fucked. Just a thought process here. We want to make sure that you got your money in the right places. Cash flow certified investments, real estate. Real estate's undefeated. We were talking about that last night with Josh and Brandon at dinner. Like, real estate's undefeated. You know, it doesn't always go up rapidly, but it always goes up. I bought a place 5 years ago, South Carolina, Columbia, in the hood for $30,000. Right now, I got somebody to offer me 120 grand on it. Okay, that thing probably sat there for 15 years at 30 grand and nobody wanted it. But now all of a sudden it's worth some money. I bought a house here in Little Elm for $295,000 in 2021. They just sold the house across the street from it for $435,000. Doesn't always blow up like that, because I got plenty of houses that I bought that are worth the fucking same as I bought them 10 years ago, right? That shit happens too. However, some of them less. But however, over time, real estate's undefeated. And if you buy it right, what I like to do is I like to buy brand new shit. Okay? Brand new shit's under warranty. Brand new shit, I got a predictable revenue stream from it, because if I put a renter in there and the stove goes out, if I can call them Whirlpool, that's not my problem, right? Plumbing goes wrong, that's the builder's 2-year warranty. I don't got nothing to worry about that. I can actually, if I buy an old used house and the foundation breaks or some shit like that, I can take my whole cash flow for the year. So I like to buy brand new stuff. Yeah, you're gonna pay a little bit more for it, but I like to buy closeout shit. I talk to all the big production builders. Hey man, when you're ready to dump these houses you can't get rid of, call me. I'll scoop them up, put renters in them. Been doing that for 20 years. Hey, You got 4 or 5 homes left in the neighborhood and you've already made your money and you just need to get the fuck out of there so you can get your line of credit canceled out onto the next development, call me, I'll buy them at a cheap price. You know, you had somebody fall out on a property and you kept their earnest money and they couldn't get the deal done, call me, I'll pick it up. That's how I've always rolled, which is invest in smart operators if you're gonna invest in deals, not money raisers, right? These guys with fancy PowerPoints, not me, but I'm saying these guys with fancy PowerPoints that tell you all these great things and say all these wonderful things. You know, anybody's a salesman. Who's an operator? I'm not investing in a salesperson. I'm investing in an operator, somebody that actually does the shit, has the experience of doing the shit. Ask me how I know. I've invested in the fancy money raising guy. They got my money, I ain't got shit. The restaurants, right? In the meanwhile, the guys that I've invested in with operators, like the guy that I did the apartment complex thing with, he's an actual operator. He saw this thing to the end. So these 8 skills are a must. So if you want to level up, here's what you do. What level are you on? What skill set do you need to go to the next level? It's that simple. Here's what I got for you guys today, okay? I'll make you a quick offer and then I'll get off the stage. I put together 3 amazing people to help you guys get through these 4 levels and these 8 skills, okay? Number 1, I got Kenny. He was up here earlier. He's got a lean startup, man. He's the fastest person to hit platinum with Owens Corning. He's got his shit together. He's got an operation in multiple states. You know, he came from that dude with his belly hanging out to the guy in the suit now. He's really brilliant. That ADD is a superpower for him. He's brilliant at what he does, right? He's in multiple industries. He's in retail and he's in insurance and he's in multiple states and he does roofs and bathrooms. So he's got a very diverse portfolio of things that he does. He's growing fast. He's taking it from 10 to $30 million this year. And I know because I look at his shit. I see that it happens. I sit on the board of directors for his company. So does Todd. Then we've got Todd. Todd's a 9-figure mammoth, you know? That guy's an acquisition king. He's buying other big ass companies up. He knows this shit inside and out. Half of y'all followed him into the hallway like he was a rock star when he got done talking, because he fucking is. That's what he does. That's why I've invited him and Kenny to be a part of this. He's got nationwide distribution. He's got multiple brands under his umbrella. And it's not just in the roofing world, by the way. He's in supplements. He's in apparel, right? Like he's got his hands in a lot of things. He's not a jack of all trades, but he's a master of some. He's an acquisition king, okay? You got me. I'm a master of the process, right? I understand sales, marketing, culture creator. That's what I do. I'm a financial freak, right? I figure out how to make money work for you. Here's what I've got for you guys. We created something called the Apex Blue Collar Ballers, right? We created a group that's separate from everything else in Apex. It's just for you guys that are in the trades that want to go through these 4 levels and master these 8 skills. Imagine if you could knock off Todd's KPIs and SOPs. Imagine if you could knock off Kenny's exit structure before it was too late. Imagine if you could come here and get my playbook, my scorecards, my KPIs, our CRMs, our marketing, our material, the things that we use to make it rain. Imagine if you came in here and you learned every single month from one of us. The way that this works is that the first week of every month, starting next month, is the first Tuesday of every month, we do a training. Then that following Thursday, we do Q&A with everybody. So the first month, it'll probably be Todd, right? So you go in, you'll learn from Todd, then you get an opportunity to do questions from him. Second month, it'll be me or Kenny, and we'll rotate through that. You'll have your own Facebook group. It'll all be recorded, so if you miss it or if you want to watch the replays, all that stuff will be back there. But you got 3 leaders that you can plug into, talk to, tap into, plus a network of people that you can pour into, because we're going to make this limited to about 100 people, okay? First, we are only going to take 100 people, and I know there's probably not going to be 100 that sign up today, and that's fine. It'd be great if it was, but I don't even know if there's that many left in the room at this point because catching flights and stuff. But we are going to be marketing this heavy to take it to 100 to see how much of a tax that is on us. So there is going to be limited space. We are going to run ads to it. But you get to learn, like, listen, the price of this thing, we're talking about a couple roofs. It's a 12-month program. So every 3 months, you're cycling through us. We're going to have guys like Tony Teach. We're going to have guys like Alex Gerhard, who couldn't make it today because he's got some stuff going on. Like, I have the network to pour into you guys. All the biggest and greatest guys that have exited, the Kurt Lenningtons, the Todd Prices. Like, I know all of these guys, so we're going to have them pouring into this as well to help you guys out. You get to align with industry leaders. We're going to you get focused on one lane. Okay, we're not gonna dump you into a program with 20 different programs and a bunch of different groups. We're gonna keep you very separated, very focused on one lane, just in the trades, ready to make this shit happen. And it's gonna last for 12 months. At the end of 12 months, we'll all decide whether we wanna do this shit again or not. Todd may say, fuck it, this shit wasn't worth my time, right? So I at least got him locked in for us for 12 months. Kenny, at the same time, he may say, hey, at $35 million a year, I'm not interested the same way I was at 10, Ryan. Hell, I might say, fuck these people, I'm out. You never know, you know what I'm saying? But we're definitely in for 12 months. Here's how it works, okay? Like I said, first Tuesday training, first Thursday Q&A, 3 live meetups a year. So you'll come back here to Dallas 3 times. This is all included in this program. You get to be back in the room, except for this time, it won't be outsiders. You'll know them because you'll have been in the Facebook group and connected with all of them, okay? It's 10 grand for the entire year. We're talking a couple roofs. Surely working with Todd, surely working with Kenny, surely working with myself. And by the way, these are skills that if you're a business owner, you push onto your sales team. These are skills, if you're a salesman, we're gonna teach you how to make $10,000 in commissions over the course of a year, probably your first couple months into this, at the least. If you need financing, we can get you set up over here at Closer Capital, or we have an option to pay $1,000 a month for 12 months if you wanna draw it out without interest. We do have that option as well. My guys are standing in the back there. Listen, I can't make you sign up for this, but I can tell you in 13 years of doing business, I have 0 one-star reviews and I haven't disappointed anybody. If I tell you you can get plugged into this and $10,000 is a no-brainer, it is. If I told you today, if you give me $10,000, I'll give you $100,000, you would scour the planet to come up with $10,000. But I know for a fact that you can make a lot more than $100,000 with the information that we have. How do I know? Because I've watched Kenny do it. I've watched Tony do it. I've watched Todd do it. I've watched Kurt do it. I've watched Tony Tavernas do it. I've watched Kaiser do it. Everybody that was up here, I watched Brandon James, 5 years, 8 figures. You know how much Brandon James paid when he first started? 10 grand. Would you trade 10 grand for 8 figures? I'm not saying that it's in the books for you, but I'm saying it was damn sure in the books for him, and you got a hell of a lot of head start ahead of him. So my guys are in the back here. I highly recommend you guys get signed up for this. We're not gonna let you down. We're gonna help you make more money. The greatest thing about everybody in this room is you're in a recession-proof business, okay? Economy's bad, economy's good, a roof fucking leaks, they need it fixed. So it's not like we're running out of prospects. It's not like they're not building real estate anymore. Everywhere that we look, there's somebody with a leak. They need a plumbing. They need a bathroom remodel.